your February read. Now, your reading's very interesting. I've had to record your video 4 times. 2020 is a 4 vibration. It's also about duality, bringing things together, balancing those things out. The hard work you put in is what you're going to get out of the situation. Now, potentially for the last 3 years, it has been quite testy on our nerves and our psyche. We are going to be having Mercury retrograde this month, and it is in Pisces. So again, it's the 12th house, the subconscious mind collectively, but it's also very deeply psychic. Venus is going to be in Aries, ironically enough, and Juno is going to be in Libra for 1 whole year. It is going to be going retrograde this month also. So really, when we do look at the romance house of your life and the way your energy is going to be directly relating to it, we can look at those two placements. Aries and Chiron for you guys is your 6th house, and it is to do with your work environment, your habits, your routines, your health. So potentially, if you're currently living with someone, that can be affecting domains, your finances and your employment. That can be affecting the way you relate into romances. And when we do look at the 6th house placement, this will be for 8 years. So if this has been an old thing and it comes up in a trigger point, it's self-mastery in these areas. It's whereby potentially your belief system has been what your domain is and what your role is within connections, and potentially even within your employment, what that has been. Now, Juno will fall in your 12th house, which is very much the energy of your subconscious mind. It's very much your subconscious mind, hidden resources, secrets, enemies, responsibilities, both at a social level, and also it can govern illicit affairs. And when I did pull the placement up for Aries and Chiron, which is still the Venus house, potentially in the past there might have been some sense of external influences. Now, when we look at the third party energy, it can be illicit affairs. Regardless of how it stands, it can be conditioning at childhood that is still present in an energetic sense. Now, this card actually is in the reverse, which is, it's positive, but it's more external now, or more psychologically, spiritually ingrained, where you're purging it. Especially since for you guys currently, the triggers of the pain, it can directly be a pain body experience that Aries is bringing up in romance. But again, from the Aries placement, we're coming from our point of view, how we're showing the world to treat us, or how we're showing the world our truth of who we are, and also how they're seeing us. A lot of expectations I'm hearing, and there's deep healing based on that, but it's also belief systems that you're breaking away from. Now, in the reverse, it's sabotaging energies due to conflict in the past, how you'd move forward and you had to move back, start again, and I'm hearing start again. Now, this could have potentially been affecting your health. Now, the two themes, like I said, that have come up for you is very much linking in with your beliefs of romance, contracts, marriages, partnerships, relationships in general, tribe orientation, and growth and abundance, and how you can manifest that. And that's a very huge theme coming through in your reading. The crowning energy is very much linking with the home environment. But it's also you actually wanting to create a happy life, wanting to have a better location, wanting to have different things. Also can be very dreamlike. Now, you've got, as a clarifier, home in reverse. I am feeling for some of you, there may be changes happening on the home front. There may be a lightening in frequency, and something that is, when it's crowning, it can be something that you're wanting to achieve, not necessarily that it has occurred. Some of you, I do feel this is occurring already, where you're physically changing the way your house is in a feng shui level, purging situations out, fine-tuning them and getting organised. And that theme will come up in March when Saturn does retrograde into Aquarius. It is about organisation. The action and the foundation of any situation of change you completely have power over. Past tense, there may have been distorted situations and troubles. You also could be reflecting back on how potentially finances and things you learned were quite, they're going to serve you very well in the future. But also, some of the situations may have been due to children, due to family, And it was a very testy time for you spiritually. You might have had to have grown up very quickly. I never really had that inner nurturing time to have the time to be present and really shifting the energy of your healing under the carpet for other people. I feel in general, with the Leo moon that's coming up, the Leo moon is going to be in your 10th house. So your 10th house again is linking in with, you know, the home domain, but it's your career, it's the way people see you, and it's the achievements within those areas. So overall for that, you're going to be looking at it differently. Where you stand right now, past versus present. And I do feel this could be where, if you're really not in love with a career, but you really have quite detached from it, potentially don't be surprised if you get a pay rise. Some of you also, you haven't left the situation, but maybe spiritually you have, but I still feel advances there. There is the question we are posing to ourselves in 2020, where are we standing in our way? If we have detached from it, 9 times out of 10 detachment equals manifestation. So suddenly things and rewards come to us. I do feel after a pause, I feel finances are going to start coming in for you guys. And there is this mass movement in situations. You've got Hermit in reverse. So it's like coming out of a situation, you know, Hermit in reverse, really having no choice but to proceed forward. There is a lot of jealousy around at the moment, especially if you're wanting to achieve something. You know, this could be your energy or in general energies around you, and I feel for a majority of you it's energies around you. If it is coming up in a trigger point towards you, it may more than likely be linking in with your Aries and Chiron placement, which is people's perspectives, perceptions, and distortion and manipulation placed on you. In your finance house, you do have, like I said, a lot of luck. This is both financially, with career, with study, where you're going, where you're moving. And I clarified, and there was falseness to do with something. And I thought, okay, what is this false energy? And initially I felt you potentially can be dealing with an energy that is toxic, but I'm not feeling this to be your energy, because obviously with your crowning energy there's jealousy here. Some people can be quite confused by your success, but please don't go backwards where you feel unworthy of it. I do also feel that you guys had your eye on something else, but there is a benefit coming to you in a different shape or form. And as I mentioned, there are 2 themes playing out in your reading. It's both love and career. And the ironic thing is, I do feel with some of you, you potentially could be thinking, how can I have both? There's situations that need balancing. There's plans that you're wanting to achieve. And some of you don't quite know, you're going through the motions, so to speak. Some of you might not be feeling as though anything directly is relating. Like, where do I go? Do I just go through the motions? Let's get back into a routine and the truth will be revealed. And that's really what's being shown. Now, love is going to come up as a large theme, and so is having to have the time to balance both. I also do feel, providing you are passionate about your career and, you know, you're doing things that make you happy, I do feel this abundance is going to come in towards you. In your family domain, again, it's this very grounded energy, but it's also about being very loyal to the people that are there for you. You may find if you're in a partnership, you may still be together but not seeing each other much, and this is something that's going to come up in a conversational piece. I do feel it's very grounded conversation. You might feel this person's quite detached, and this could even be a family member. It could be you feeling detached from the person you love, be it you're with them or not. You could be questioning some of the things that they're doing, and this doesn't have to be a romantic partner, but for some of you it is. Really, you can visually see them up in their head, and again, because of your 12th house placement, you may be psychologically going over old ground thinking it's the same pattern, but I'm being shown no, it's not. This person is actually going through a meditated state, and they're trying to process the way to proceed forward, and I do feel it is going to be articulated to you. Yeah, there you go. They're in their head. They're thinking. Clarification. Your health. If there is something nagging at you and you haven't dealt with it, this could be a direct health matter, and you're having ailments and you're thinking that you need to check them out. Don't get up into your mind thinking this is worse than it is. Now, Mercury retrograde is generally not the best time to get correct results, but I'm not a doctor. If you were waiting on results, they can be coming in. Also, don't think of the worst case scenario. This is what's being shown to me at a very separate level. I do feel it's more a mental state with the 12th house placement. It's like going over old ground, thinking things, old triggers coming up, which that happens with all of us, where you're potentially thinking you can't achieve or make a decision based on a subject matter. This is the illusion of being trapped. With the Libra in Juno energy, again, it might be the balancing of give and take in a situation, the choosing of yes and no in situations, and this can be causing you some fatigue. Thinking about these things, transformation not occurring, frustration due to such. I'm hearing that you don't want to sabotage. Okay. If you had a person pass over, don't get trapped in your mind and fixated that the same is going to happen. But I do feel due to that, I do feel you're quite honest and earnest about your life, and you could be getting psychic downloads about this person's energy and what they're trying to tell you from the other side. And I feel they're trying to guide you and tell you you're not trapped. At any time you can be a king or a queen of swords and you can make a decision. There is something really where you're trying to make that decision but you feel stuck. But I feel it's because of the Libra and Juno energy. You're assessing something, you're reflecting back over it of was it right or wrong in a decision. Some of you in the unseen position, you've got the Page of Earth. Now it's in reverse. Some of you are second guessing a career or a study area. And it doesn't mean to say it's the wrong study. I feel it's more, again, from the Aries and Chiron placement. This placement is really asking you, don't second guess yourself, okay? This is in the unseen position. Again, energy of self-sabotage. Continue forward, persevere forward. Use the time to meditate. Try to move through this Mercury retrograde by looking at it from various perspectives and then directly relate it to the energy moving forward. Again, if this is coming down to a romantic partner, do the same. Move forward, but reflect back. Reflecting back in a sense of trying to comprehend and understand, but remaining present and proceeding forward nevertheless. And don't think that old energies are going to repeat in a pattern, because I feel it's more a spiritual aspect of a transformation and potential triggers coming up. Now, your crowning energy within your romance house, there is a lot going on, and again, this can both be at a spiritual, emotional, 3D level. It can be very busy, and again, we do tend to have a lot of challenges during Mercury retrograde with cross wires, miscommunication, misunderstandings. I'm also feeling you're having to be super responsible, or situations coming up with older children. For those of you that have children. I'm also seeing, in your mind, you may be actually, in a pain body experience and looking at the way the relationship's changing, what this person is, have they evolved, be it together or not. The energy coming through is really hovering around you. So dependent upon who you're tuning into, it will directly relate. Some of you are being very cautious about how you think about things. Again, I'm seeing like playing chess. I'm also feeling being playful and being light-hearted, but also being responsible by tackling certain areas in a mindset, in a heartfelt way, in a movement way, or directly communicating with this individual. And this could be going back and forward. If you're not in communication, this will still be a spiritual mindset you're considering. Past tense energy, things did move extremely fast. Potentially the last 2 to 3 years, including the way you're looking at this now, you're really making an assessment as to what you're wanting to take with you. You're taking the blessings and the lessons, but you do feel it has taken a very long time to get where you are. You have worked very hard on yourself. Some of you may feel you missed it, you missed an opportunity, or the person missed an opportunity. But there are, and also you could even be thinking about this person in general and thinking, are they not seeing their potentiality? But this is deep energy of mind conditioning, perspective, and spiritual growth. The absolute requirement and the need is both energies are actually transforming, and I'm hearing the term, is that okay? Both of you uniquely have this very telepathic connection. I think ultimately speaking, both of you is thinking the same thing. You know, is change okay? What is this going to mean? You're really needing to release the belief that change is not okay. Change means risk. Some of you might have two very different ideas as to what that's going to be. Yeah, I feel the person who you're tuning into is really going into their heart, really, like, not potentially articulating it, but going into their heart and thinking about things before directly acting. So you're both operating quite differently. I do feel if you guys can make it through this month, there can be success. Oh. Those of you who are on the fence, I feel there's this energy where if triggers are coming up, you may feel you need to move forward. But some of you, overall, again, it could be, you know, if you are in a relationship and there's an external situation going on, I have been seeing a lot of energy coming through with your read where there's a lot of jealousy. Now, this jealousy could be interfering in the relationship, and both of you are operating with healthy boundaries in a different way. If you're not in communication, this is still happening within your lives. People need to be able to work with you, and if they don't, it's almost like they're not tribe. And I do feel there's this conflict here. It could even be a conflict of interest, being dragged into situations, observing it. I'm feeling energies of energy vampire, especially with the 12th house placement. The foundation of this connection is going through a change, and this can even be the direct environment. I do feel you're going to be seeking out counsel inside of other people, maybe that are equal in mindset. And this is both of you as individuals. The funny thing is the man on this card almost looks like a magician, and he is looking at the green ball, which is heart chakra. So this change is directly wanted inside of romance. The adversity that you guys have been dealing with is wanting to be cleared away. This is a meeting of minds. This is 7. This is a spiritual connection, a change occurring within this situation. And not necessarily that, it's almost like being with the right person at the wrong time, and it's like now doing the catch-up effect. There could also be, how do I put it? Seven of Air, Seven of Fire. Both of you coming from the same perspective, one passionate, one emotional. An imbalance of the masculine and feminine. But it's the same thing. You're wanting the same thing. It's merely looking at it in the yin and yang effect of what you're wanting. If it's coming up in a 3D, you can directly deal with it. If it's coming up in a 5D spiritual download or direct examples within your life, and I hope you understand how I'm talking. When a person is on a TF path, lessons come in a very unique way, and this is probably the best way I can describe it. You directly will have a chain of events happening around you to help you ascend. So every direct theme in your life will link into your ascension. Your romantic house, the foundation of it is 5 change. 7 is deeply spiritual. Deeply, deeply spiritual. Now this adversity could be happening in your own lives very separately to the direct connection being an issue. And I think this is really the key here of the way you've got to look at it. Both of you are right. Now you're going back to the table. You're taking the empath approach. You're needing to take the empath, intuition, and the Mars energy, masculine, to put you back into it. So it's changing both the 5D and the 3D nature of the situation. But I do feel with this jealousy and these healthy boundaries, I'm going to pull 3 chakra cards. Wrong card. What is needed here? Look, with the Leo moon, there can be a purge of the ego, but you're guided to do your work, go to the inside, see where it's coming from to move forward. Okay, so third eye blockage, potentially not saying that you're talking about the same thing. The energy of responsibility for duality, you know, whatever you're wanting to achieve, it can be achieved. Whatever triggers that come up, dealing with it, releasing it. This is all about potentially even family, but this is Leo energy, because Leo is governed by Sun energy, and it's also going to be the moon energy triggering multiple ways of communicating. We've got Pisces in Mercury retrograde, subconscious mind. Your energy for Juno is in the 12th house, subconscious mind. Deeply, deeply psychic connection here. Spiritual ascension. Don't be surprised if you get tired this month. Go with the ebbs and flows. I am seeing you guys moving careers potentially, and even underestimating yourself. You know, if you're working towards it already, you're on your A game. You're ascending and listening to your intuition. If you aren't happy with it, it does need to be looked at. I'm also finding there is healthy boundaries here and really picking your tribe and moving away from people that play mind games. People that maybe condescend you in a sense of saying you're less when you actually do more. And I feel these are healthy boundaries between these toxic energies. I'm also seeing, potentially for those of you looking for a home, I do feel this is going to come up. And I'm also seeing a pay rise with a jealous co-worker. Love and all that.